With the novel coronavirus continuing to devastate the world and the death count climbing, especially here in the United States, we're now hearing about another novel virus from China that could potentially cause another pandemic. So our 9 Health expert joins us now, Dr. Payal Kohli, to talk about it. And what do we know about this virus? What are we calling it?
So Tom, we're calling it the G4EA-H1N1. And the reason we're calling it that is actually because it has a lot of similarities to the H1N1 or the swine flu from 2009. But interestingly, it also has a lot of similarities and descends from the Spanish flu of 1918. And what we know about it is that it's undergone recombination. It's a flu virus, and the intermediate host is pigs, and that's why it's called a swine flu. We also know that it's demonstrated potential to infect humans. So we've been keeping an eye on this virus since 2016, and recently we've noticed that 10% of swine flu workers, or workers who work with pigs, are testing positive, and those between the ages of 8 to 35 are actually 20% positive. So what it's showing is that the amount of infectivity in humans appears to be going up, which is a concerning finding.
So let's talk about that it has pandemic potential. Obviously, we've grown to learn quite a bit about that over the past 4 to 6 months. What does it mean that it has that type of potential? And are we as a world or even as a nation better equipped to do it, having understood through discipline or efficacy what does work, what doesn't work in preventing or slowing down something like that?
So pandemic potential, if you recall, really requires 3 key pieces of the recipe or hallmarks to have pandemic. So first thing is that it has to be a novel virus that nobody has immunity to, just like the coronavirus was. And we know that that's true in this case. The second is that it actually has to show that it can infect humans, which is again shown to be true in this case. And then the third is we have to show sustained human-to-human transmission. So we have to show that people can spread it to each other. And fortunately, this has not met that third criteria yet. So we haven't actually had human-to-human transmission so far. We've only had animal-to-human transmission. So it is one of those things we have to really keep a close eye on, because if the virus changes just a little, and we've learned from this current pandemic that viruses are constantly changing and mutating and can easily go into that community spread sort of mode. But if that were to happen here, we could potentially have another pandemic on our hands. So the fact that we're now seeing more infectivity in humans means we really have to keep a close eye on the genetics of the virus and on understanding how it spreads.
Well, it is 2020, so we certainly are expecting the worst. That's just the way things have gone. How worried do we need to be about this? We're still dealing, of course, with the current situation, with our current pandemic. How afraid might we be of what may be to come?
Yeah, it's an important question. We've become very fearful, but I have to say I'm only just a little bit worried about this right now. I don't want to completely forget about it, but I'm not super worried, and let me tell you why. So the first is exactly what you said. We're a little bit distracted with the coronavirus, so we may not be paying as close attention to other potential novel viruses that could emerge. So that worries me a little bit. The second is that rate of infectivity in humans has really started to increase, and no one has immunity to it. But on the flip side, we've now noticed this to be a new strain of the virus, and scientists are actually working on changing the flu vaccine later this year to try to see if they can maybe adopt some of this into that. And the other reason is because the H1N1 strain that emerged in 2009 actually killed a lot fewer people than we expected, because unlike the coronavirus, with the flu virus, it seems that there is a lot of cross-reactivity. So even if people do get sick with the novel strain of the virus, they don't seem to necessarily get as sick because they may have some partial protection offered to them from their prior flu infection. So I'm a little worried, and we need to just keep an eye on it, but I'm not super worried right now.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. We have plenty on our hands right now, but we'll keep an eye out for that as well. Dr. Payal Kohli, thanks as always.